Hey, Canada. What's going on? It's Adam here with Jack White.
Yes.
How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
I am quite well. Let's talk about the record. Boarding House Reach, #1 in Canada. #1.
Yes.
It's exciting, right?
Feels good. Yes. The Canadian side of my family is very proud of that.
Yeah, you have such a cool connection to Canada. I mean, you're growing up in Detroit. It's right there.
Yeah.
The Great White Northern Lights tour was so epic. What does Canada mean to you?
Well, Canada meant a lot growing up. You know, my father's side of the family is from Nova Scotia, so we had a lot of ties and a lot of history through that. My grandfather traveled across Canada and taught in a railroad car classes on air brakes. So we have a lot of history from our family, from that side. And also growing up in Detroit across the street, basically, from Canada. So.
Yeah, you got up into the territories and everything. Like, you've seen it all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere.
Yeah, you have. So we'll dive into this real quick. Just unpack this. On the weekend, you're playing the show and had some comments for President Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it, as an artist and with someone with such a huge platform, do you feel an obligation to be political in the climate that exists right now?
Yeah, at times you do. I mean, I think that the artist shouldn't really be at the service of any trends or anything like that. I mean, if you're pandering and catering to like trying to get an applause or something, I mean, it's almost ridiculous. But if anyone strongly believes in something, they should say it. I mean, there's definitely. I'm not big on listening to Ted Nugent say what he believes, but
Nor should you be, to be honest. I'll say it.
But what are you gonna? Sometimes something comes up and it makes sense. It's definitely a difficult time in America. So it'd be hard to ignore it. It's hard to. I can't even watch the news anymore. It's just so depressing.
Yeah. Do you think it's odd that pop music is still so dominant right now in that landscape as well? Like, once upon a time, we got bands like CCR were Rage Against the Machine. And Rage Against the Machine were Rage Against the Machine. Yeah. And that doesn't seem to be something that's boiling up yet. Or maybe it is.
I don't know. I really don't know. I guess I haven't examined all the different genres and how they're speaking about things. I just hear certain things in passing. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, well, let's talk about the show tonight. What's the band look like? Because it's always different. You're always changing things up. You always got something going on. What's the band look like tonight?
Then we have Carla Azar on drums, and she's been playing with me for years. She was in Autolux, and she's played with PJ Harvey and lots of incredible artists. She's one of the best drummers in the world right now, I really think. And I've always played to the drummer. That's the most important element of the band to me. And whether it's Meg White or Daru Jones or Patrick Keeler, I mean, I've been very lucky to play with some of the best drummers I've ever seen myself live and from the last time period, last 10, 15 years. So I'm very lucky to play with her.
I know when you played the Sony Center a few years back, she broke a cymbal in the middle of the set. I don't even remember that, but I'd never seen that before.
Oh, man, I forgot about that. She's incredible. And then Dominic Davis on bass. I've been playing with him since we were kids in Detroit together. We grew up together. And then we have Quincy McCrary and Neil Evans on keys. We have 2 keyboard players, which I've never done before. So that's it's a very solid up front, it's very full sounding. The square waves of synthesizers are being right up front. So these songs sound very different and very, very full. Yeah.
That's awesome. It's phones free tonight.
Yeah.
Technology is an amazing thing. It connects everyone and stuff, but sometimes it's just time to put down the phones, right?
Yeah, well, it's an interesting experiment, and I thought people were going to take to it negatively, but people have taken to it incredibly positively. I mean, I just seem like everybody walking out of the show says, I loved that. That was amazing. I wish all concerts were like this. And I think it's starting to catch on. Other artists seem to be wanting to do this now, and it's great. Before our last couple of tours, we went out, and my tour manager, Lala, went out and asked people, could you please put your phones down out of respect for everybody else around you? And the crowd would roar and say, yeah, exactly. Thank God someone said that. But what would happen was people wouldn't film anymore. They would just go down like this. and they weren't watching the show anymore. You would look out and you just see everyone's heads tilted down, and it became sort of like, I can't compete with that. It doesn't matter what I do. If I fly away like Garth Brooks or set myself on fire, I don't know what you're supposed to do to like engage. So I just thought it would be an interesting experiment. What if we did this? And this Yonder company came up with this idea about you could lock these in these magnetic pouches, which I thought was hilarious. I thought it was like an art experiment that, people coming to an escape room or something,
There's definitely people out there just trying to figure out how to get them undone.
Sure, yeah. But it's been an amazing response. I thought it was going to be very negative, and it's been nothing but positive.
Yeah, it's almost like people...
The biggest complaint I've seen is people don't know what time it is, which is even more funny.
Right, which is great because they can't go, all right, well, this is the last song, and then encore is going to be, it's a surprise. It's almost like people want permission to, like, put their phones away. Like,
I think so,
it's
yeah.
weird. Now that you have the key to the city of Cincinnati, what are you going to open first?
I wish I could open King Records again. We went to King Records, which is a historical place there, and a very important place in modern music, American music, and for the whole world, really. I mean, you have blues, rock and roll, James Brown, Hank Williams, all these things that came out of that scenario right there, bluegrass, and all these amazing American genres came out of there. They're hoping to restore the King Records and make it into sort of a Sun Records, bring it back alive, and we could still record there and let people see the history of that building. So I wanted to help them out if I could.
That's awesome. Have you ever... We're just going to get into some weird stuff now.
Sure, okay.
Stuff out there. Have you ever been starstruck, and if so, by whom?
Ever been starstruck? Oh, man, I think I need a minute to think about that. I definitely love when I meet scientists, like, Neil deGrasse Tyson, or I was with the family of Carl Sagan once. We put out a record with Carl Sagan's voice on it through Third Man Records, and it was those are the people I really respect. I was lucky to go to the launch of the Juno probe at the Jet Propulsion Laboratories, and I could just sit there and talk to those guys for hours, and I don't want to bother them.
Yeah, right.
But so those are the people that, get me sort of butterflies in my stomach.
They got to get you working on some of the tones and stuff that they send out there into space.
Oh, man.
When the aliens be rocking out to Jack White?
That would be a dream. I would give it all up to just work on that. That would be amazing.
So
by giving it all up, I mean 3 square meals a day and a cot.
So you're a young man in Detroit. You decide, hey, you know what? I'm pretty good at playing this guitar. Think I can write some songs. What was your original version of success? The first thing that you, like the first plateau you wanted to get to? Because you don't dream of playing in all these different bands, these stadiums and stuff. What was the first thing that you wanted to achieve?
I was only hoping that I would be able to continue doing upholstery, have my own shop, which I had when I was 21. I started my own business when I was 21. And I thought I was just going to do that for the rest of my life. And I was hoping that I would be able to play in a band on weekends when I had free time. And maybe one day make a record. Those were probably the long-term goals I would have if I wrote them on a chalkboard.
I can't help but smile when I think of it like
I would, even when we got our first album out and we started touring, I still thought, well, this is a fluke because nobody's going to like the songs that I'm writing or what I'm doing. There's no way that's going to connect with anybody more than like 50 people in this town or something like that. And it just kept going and going and going that way. And it's very strange because it's like Murphy's Law. I think if I wanted to achieve certain things, they wouldn't have happened. It's because I didn't care about it. I didn't care about money. I didn't care about fame. I didn't care about any of those things. And I think those things get thrown at you when you don't care a lot of times.
I think your work ethic has a lot to do with it, too. And I'll go back to Great White Northern Lights one more time, just because we love it so much here in Canada. Yeah. You said something in that documentary that has stuck with me forever, and that is that if you can put a keyboard 2 steps away to be able to get to it in 2 steps, you got to put it 3 steps away to make sure that you work your ass off to get to that when you need to be there. And that's got to be part of the Jack White formula, right?
That's funny you said that because, the news about Anthony Bourdain yesterday, that he came to a show a few days ago, and he came backstage and he told me that, I want to tell you something, Jack, that statement you made in the the Northern Lights movie, about putting things 1 step away, making things more difficult, and putting obstructions in your way to achieve something. I took that to heart, and my entire crew, I've explained that methodology to them, and that's one of the main methods we use in filming my shows. And I was really astounded by that. It was really, really kind of him to tell me that story, and I was really inspired that he was inspired by that in his own world, which
so
you would
different.
almost think that it would have nothing to do with what I was talking about music. So it's great. You can see how people are creative in different ways, and they can use inspiration in different ways. So I love what he's doing. It's great.
Yeah. And don't forget, reach out. If you ever need someone to talk to, reach out. Speaking of Anthony Bourdain. Jack, thank you so much for your time,
thank
sir.
you.
We really appreciate it, and look forward to the show tonight and every time you come back to Toronto.
Thank you very much, man.
Cheers.
Appreciate it.
Jack White.